Sounds great.
Hi, I'm JV Crum III. I'm here with Marcus Aurelius Anderson, and together we're going to be doing a training today. This is specifically for coaches and consultants who want to reach 100,000 to $250,000 in revenues. And we're going to be going over a lot of the hidden secrets, things that you need to know. So this is definitely going to be a take note type of training, as we're going to be going over a lot of different things, including what are the top 3 problems that most coaches and consultants have, and why do they have so many problems overcoming them? And part of it is that there's so many symptoms, and we're going to talk about those. And most of the people out there are telling you what we think is the wrong answer. And so what we're going to do is tell you what we believe is the right answer. And then we're going to guide you through a lot of the training today so that you can look at your business and start thinking about how you need to make changes in it. So at the end of today, we're actually going to be talking about a boot camp that we're doing. But whether the boot camp's right for you or not, we've designed this training so that you would get high value out of it, so that you would now finally know what are the real problems you need to deal with, and what do we think are the best solutions? What are the 3 things that really seem like secrets because so few people are doing them, and they're really focusing on the wrong things? So I'll kind of set the groundwork here. If the regular answers that people were giving you were the right answers, why is it that over 90% of coaches and consultants never reach that $100,000 mark? And we're not talking about just reaching 100,000. We're going to talk today about how can you reach $100,000 to $250,000. That's what we're going to be focused on today. And typically coaches and consultants have a good 60 to 80% profit. So if you're at 200,000, that's 120,000 to over 150,000 profit, which is more than 10% of the people in this country make. So a lot of times people think, well, gosh, I've got to make $10 million a year. Well, you don't have to make $10 million a year in order to be financially free. We want you to be financially free and end up with a life that's really right for you. You're putting the right amount of money in the bank that really meets your needs, and you're able to contribute with your life through both your clients and what you do in your personal life to making this a better world. That's what Conscious Millionaire is all about. So I'm going to turn it over to Marcus, and Marcus is going to be focusing on what are those 3 central problems that it seems every coach and consultant is having if they haven't gotten to that $100,000 to $250,000 revenue place.
Absolutely, JV. And again, welcome to everybody that's here on the call today. If you have any questions, if you're over here on Zoom with me, if you're on Facebook with JV, go ahead and put the questions in the Q&A, and we'll try to get to those questions near the end of the training. That way we can give you guys even more value that's specific to the needs that you have today. So JV and I have been doing a lot of research. We talk to a lot of coaches and consultants, and there are 3 big things that we see that a lot of coaches and consultants are running into when they're trying to get to the 6-digit mark, when they're trying to get to 100,000. To 250,000 to move up to be able to scale their business. The first thing that we see is they're not making the amount of money that they want to make in the amount of time that they're wanting to make it. So if you're making $250,000 in 1 year, that's impressive. But if you're making $250,000 and it takes you 10 years to get there, that's only $25,000 a year. And that's not what we want. We want to get you to the point where you're able to break through and get beyond that plateau. Maybe you've been stuck in the same amount of money this year or last year or even the year before. This is the kind of training that we want to give you to push you to the next level. The other thing that we find with a lot of coaches and consultants is not just the fact that they're not making enough money in the shortest amount of time that they want, but they also feel like they're building their business on their back. They feel like they're weighed down by their business. They feel like they're almost trapped within the business. So while it initially started as a labor of love, where they're trying to go out and trying to help as many people as they can and make as much impact as they can, they may not be making as much impact on their bank account as they want to in that amount of time. So to keep you from feeling weighed down, to keep you from feeling distraught, and to keep you from feeling like you're not making the kind of impact that you want to make, that's what we're trying to do. And the third thing that we found with a lot of coaches and consultants is they don't feel as if they are worthy of or deserving. And because of that, the other side of that coin, they feel like they can't ask the fee that they want to ask, or can't ask the fee that they think that they're worthy of. And that is just a horrible cycle where it's really hard to break. So what we're trying to do is go over these things in the training, to go over these things in our boot camp, and to help you get beyond those self-limiting beliefs and to push you through to the next level so that you can make a bigger impact on the people around you, on your family, and on yourself in the process. And that's what we're here to talk about today, JP.
Well, yes. And, this is one of the things that I've really looked at as well is what are the symptoms? Because you may go, okay, these are the problems, but what might be happening in your life that you can know that these things are going on? So one of them is, even though you're not an employee, sometimes it seems like coaches and consultants feel that way because they feel like they're living month to month. That, am I going to have the money for the mortgage? Am I going to have the money for the rent? Am I going to have the money for the car payment? Am I going to have money even to buy the food or go out for the entertainment that I want? And so they can end up feeling like, not only am I worried about life financially month to month to month, because they're having such a roller coaster experience that one month they have good income and the next month they barely have any. And so then they can end up feeling like, well, I'm not really getting ahead. It seems like I'm stuck in this same place. And doesn't this story feel old? Like it happened last year and it happened the year before. When am I ever going to break out of this? And so here are some of the things that happens is, have you ever found yourself feeling like anybody who comes in who might be a client, I've got to do everything I can to close them. So you end up feeling kind of like you're chasing them, that you're sending them some extra emails, you're calling them a few more times. They've really already said no, but you're still chasing after them. And another thing that can happen is that, let's say you have a 6-month or a year engagement with someone, but then that engagement is done. And how do you move them to the next level? We can call that an upsell. And what we really mean is that, how can you look at that client and now create another package for that client and say, okay, here's what we've achieved in this 6 months, let's say. Here's what we can achieve in the next 6 months. We can go to a completely different place. So you upgrade the experience with them. And so if you're not doing that on a regular basis, it does leave you constantly needing clients and having that roller coaster. And then a lot of clients of mine have told me, I really got into coaching or consulting. It wasn't even, number one, for the money. Number one, I wanted to make a big impact with my life. I wanted to change people's lives. I wanted to make a difference for them. And I don't feel like I'm doing that. And so at the end of the day, one of the things that all of us as coaches and consultants want is that we want to feel fulfilled, that what we're doing really matters, that we're transforming people's lives, that we're making a difference. But to be successful, we also need to be putting money in the bank. That's the only way you'll break through the 100,000. It's the only way you'll get to the $250,000 a year. So I want to do a training about goals and how you look at goals, because I think this can positively impact you, but it may have in the past negatively impacted you, how you approach goals, because that can have a lot to do with how quickly you break through 100,000. And I just want to say something about breaking through that 100,000. One of the things you're going to hear as a theme today in this training is really this whole approach to doing the least amount necessary in order to get to the result you want. I find that the majority of the people that I've talked to that are coaches and consultants under 100,000 share this in common. They're attempting to do too many things in order to get to that 100,000, when in truth, you may only need to do one thing. You just learn to do it well in order to get to the 100,000, and then you can get there fairly quickly. So it's really doing less and focusing on getting more out of that less piece, just doing the least amount necessary. So let's talk about goals. There's 3 parts to goals, and it's the what do you want, why do you want it, and how are you going to achieve it? What I find is that people who have small goals, they're not really thinking expansively about their goals. Typically, the moment they start thinking about what they want, they simultaneously think about, well, how am I going to achieve that? And they start editing and editing and editing and editing. And you might notice it if you ever say this to yourself, well, that's not realistic. Well, what is realistic? What is reality? Reality is just that set of beliefs that you have inside combined with reference points about what you can accomplish. And then you go, well, if I've never accomplished it before, then you quickly form a belief, I don't know how to do it. And to say that I could do that in a week, that I could go out in a week and get a new big client, no, I'm sure that that's not long enough. It's probably going to take me a month to do that. All right. So that's an example of how you might limit yourself. So the recipe has to be followed in the order in which I gave it: the what, the why, and the how. So the what, I really encourage you to dream big, because big dreams actually compel us to move forward. It's like having a big why for your life. And then once you have that big dream, go to why is it important to you? That's the first part, but unfortunately, it's where most people stop. So I want you to expand your why as well. I want you to ask, why is this going to matter to me this year, 2018? And because I accomplished this, why is it going to matter in 2019? How much more can I accomplish? But now I want you to expand it and ask, well, why is it important for others? And I want you to think of a specific other. That might be your clients. It might be your team members. It might be your children. It might be your spouse. It might be your parents. So some other person that's going to also benefit by you accomplishing this goal, and ask the same thing. Well, why is this going to matter? What difference is it going to make for them in 2018? And because it made that difference in 2018, then you can build on it and make an even bigger difference in 2019. Let's expand it one more level and ask about your community or society or the world, a group bigger than you. Same question. How will my accomplishing this goal positively impact them in 2018? And then how will it lay a foundation to even more positively impact them in 2019? So now you've got this robust why. Let's go to the how. I'm going to encourage you to think of 3 pathways for accomplishing that goal. And after you've done that, if for any reason it seems like, let's say you set a 30-day goal and you're going, it just still doesn't seem like I have a path to getting there in 30 days, that's okay. I'm going to ask you to do one of 2 things. Either take that original goal and expand it out. Maybe it's 90 days, and say, I'm going to go for a 90-day goal, or expand it out, but then say, I really like this idea of going for something in 30 days. So then chunk down a piece of it so that you can accomplish that in the next 30 days. This is really going to make a huge difference. So I want to let you know right now, I've put a link up in Facebook, and Marcus, if you'd put it in the Zoom, people who are on Zoom, it's consciousmillionaire.com/discovery. Again, that's consciousmillionaire.com/discovery. And if what we're talking about is of interest to you, you really want to break through, you want to get to $100,000 to $250,000, and you feel compelled to do that, then I'd love to have a call with you. And that's the link that you can use to schedule your call. I have some calls set up available on Friday and on Monday that I'm going to be out next week. So I'd encourage you to take one of those or the following week. But let's get on a call and let's talk about your coaching and consulting business and how you can transform it to get to the $100,000 to $250,000 level. So I'm going to turn it back over to Marcus right now, because he's going to carry forward, and he's got a very special training for you as well.
Absolutely, JV. So just like what JV was talking about, he was talking about goals and having the why, understanding how you want to get there. A lot of the mindset is very important with this as well. And I'm going to go over 3 things that you can do for mindset to help you stay on task and to help you get more done in that efficiency. And these are one of the things that we're going to talk about in the bootcamp as well, to make you more efficient in everything that you're doing in your business and in your life. So the first thing is understanding the goals that you have for that day. So you should already have an understanding of what you want to get done that day. And this is why it's so important to have the organization. And just like JV was saying earlier, to be able to expound on those things and chunk them down so that you can be very specific about what you wanted to get done in that time frame. The second thing that you want to do is you want to ask yourself at each moment, this is almost a default setting that you want to have mentally. Sometimes we'll get a lot of stuff going on during the day and we get overwhelmed, and all of a sudden we finally get a break and it's like, okay, I'm in between this and this. You take a breath. Now, what should I work on now? I have, 20 minutes. The idea is to be very cognizant of what you're doing and what you're working on. So 1 is understanding what your goals are for that day. 2, ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now at this moment getting me closer to those goals? And by doing that, that's going to keep you more forward thinking. That's going to keep you very task oriented. So instead of just meandering mentally and not accomplishing as much as you could, you're always moving forward in that idea. So one is be aware of what your goals are for that day. Two, ask yourself if what I'm doing right now is getting me closer to my goals or pushing me further away. The idea is to always be moving ever forward. And then the third thing, and this, I cannot emphasize this enough, is to be completely present in whatever it is that you're doing. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but sometimes I'll read a book, and I love reading. But sometimes I'll read a book and I'll get almost all the way through the page, and then I won't even know what I just read because I'm not present in what I'm trying to do. So take your time and understand what you're trying to make happen in that moment. If it's an interaction that you're having with somebody, if it's listening to JV and I, if it's working on your job, whatever the case may be, if you're working with a client, be completely present in that moment, and you're going to get more out of that moment because you're going to get more efficiency. So one, know your goals for the day. Two, ask if what you're doing right now is getting you closer to those goals. And then three, be completely present in what you're working on to get towards those goals, and the power of three will work for you. Something else I want to talk about, and it's a law, but this is a law that JV and I want you to break, and it's called Parkinson's law. And it dictates that the more amount of time that we give to get a goal accomplished, the longer it will take us to get there. So the reality is most people don't need more time, they need a deadline. So examples of this can be when you were in school and you were given an assignment on a Monday and you have a paper due on Friday. A lot of people, instead of getting it done right then, even if it only takes a few hours, they wait and they hesitate and they kick it down the road. And then Wednesday they kick it down the road. And before you know it, it's Thursday night and they say, oh man, I got to work on this paper. And they have to really work really hard in that short amount of time to get it done. That's what Parkinson's law dictates. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get you to break that. We're trying to get you to move forward, stop hesitating, and move forward to the next thing without waiting, without asking lesser of yourself in the process. And that leads us to the idea of your tomorrow isn't tomorrow, it's today. It's based on the decisions that you make right now. It's based on the ideas that you take in right now and that you actually put into action. Like I said, most people will procrastinate. They'll push things down the road because it's easier to do that. And it's hard sometimes to make these decisions. But once you're able to make a decision and you're moving forward, that's when you're able to find out what your why is, like what JD was talking about. That's when you're able to implement those three skills that I was talking about earlier in this training. And you have to understand that the people who are successful financially and get the financial independence that they need, they, as soon as they have information that they know is going to help them, that they know is going to make them more efficient, they act on it immediately. As soon as they know that it's something that's going to be good for them, they don't wait. Because what happens is any decision you make in business is going to be compounded and it's going to be exponential. So if you find these small things that make you move forward, or if you find these big things that make you move forward faster, by acting on those immediately, that's what you're going to have later on in your business. Is going to continue to get bigger and better. But if you're continually waiting, if you're continually procrastinating, and if you're continually, let's face it, embracing mediocrity, that's what you're going to have in your business. And that's what's going to proliferate, and that's what's going to expand in your business. We don't want that to happen. The idea is to make you move forward with the best information that you have, to make the most with the time that you have, to make the most impact on your clients, on the people around you, and on your bank account in the process. The other thing that JV and I see so much of is everybody is fixated on leads. And leads are important. They absolutely are. But they are not the be all end all, because one, if you don't have an effective model in your business that's set up to efficiently push those forward to make the most money in the shortest amount of time, you're losing out on that. And then the idea also is if you can't close, it doesn't matter how many leads you have. It doesn't matter how good your business model is. You have to have all those things together in this trifecta and with the power of three. So that's what we're trying to talk about, not only in this training, but also in the boot camp. And the other thing is just think about the amount of money that you're making right now in this year, or what you made last year. If you can take that money and you can double it just this year in the next 12 months, what would you do with that money? What would you do if you were able to pay off some things? If you're able to get a new car, if you're able to get a new house, if you're like a typical person who hasn't had time to go on a vacation, maybe go on a vacation, maybe pay off some stuff for the college loan for the kids or whatever. The idea is to take the amount of money that you're making now and learn how to double it, and then maybe even triple it, and then continue to scale up and expound as we go. Because if we don't make any changes right now, you're not going to find any positive changes in your financing in the future as well. And that's the thing that JV and I found with so many coaches and consultants today.
So, I want to jump in here. One of the things of my background, and it informs the way that I approach everything in business, the way that I approach all my trainings, all my coachings, it informs how I do my podcasts, is I have 9 years of training in NLP and Ericksonian hypnosis. So a shortcut to understanding NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, is that it's really the study of patterns, linguistic patterns and neurological patterns in human beings, and then learning how to change those patterns as well as duplicate patterns of excellence or patterns of high performance, which is what I focus on, in other people. So I've looked, because of my shows, I've had so many people on my shows that work with coaches and consultants. And what I've done is I've looked at coaches and consultants. The majority of them are not getting to 100, an even smaller group get to 250. So less than 10% of coaches and consultants ever make it to 100,000. And then it's just a few percentages. It's a single digits that ever make it to $250,000 in revenue. And so I've analyzed, why is that happening? What are people doing over and over and over again that actually keeps them from making that kind of money? And so I've comprised a list, and I want to go over that. And I think these are things you're going to want to write down. I'm going to ask you to self-identify and go, is this maybe a way that I'm holding myself back because I've been focused too much on that? Marcus started by talking about leads. So leads are being sold to everybody like this is the answer. But if it were the answer and all you needed were more leads, and there are many different ways to accomplish that, why is it that less than 10% of coaches and consultants are breaking through the 100,000 and only a few single digits are breaking through $250,000? So I think that getting the leads is not the first answer. There are other things you need to be doing. We're going to talk about what you need to be doing next. Right now, I want to talk about things that are actually not that effective. So the first one was you don't have enough leads. All right, now let's talk about the law of attraction, because it's very popular, and I even wrote about the law of attraction in my book, Conscious Millionaire. However, there's great misunderstanding about the law of attraction. The law of attraction is really an interpretation of quantum physics, which I've studied in depth. And quantum physics finds that two objects can be remotely, one can be thousands of miles away from the other. But if they're resonating with the same frequency, when one changes, the other one can change. So let's think about that for a moment. If you want to attract more clients or more high profit opportunities, or you want to be attracted to them, it doesn't work for you to stay in the same state that is keeping you making, say, $50,000 a year when you want to be making $250,000. You have to change states. You have to change your belief systems. You have to change your emotional state, your mental state, your physical state. You've got to have a state shift so that you start resonating inside with what it is that you want. So to say, I'm just going to use the law of attraction and that's somehow going to attract me or bring to me, attract to me the opportunities that I need is a misunderstanding of the law of attraction. Now, I love this. I'll just work harder. If I can't do it by 5, I'll do it by 8 o'clock at night, or maybe I'll work till midnight. Well, if you're just doing the same kind of stuff, it doesn't matter that you're doing more of it. It's still not going to work. Now, this is very popular these days. It's I'll get together with a few of my peers who happen to be at exactly the same place I am. And we're going to read articles, and we're going to watch webinars, and we're going to share information. But here's the problem. Nobody's actually done it. So there's no one guiding anybody there. And it's kind of, to be honest with you, like the blind leading the blind. And I don't mean to be insulting, but I do want to be a little bit in your face because I'm a coach and that's part of my job. I don't want you doing things that are ineffective. And it's also very popular these days that the answer is going to be a mastermind. I've been in a lot of masterminds. I've run masterminds, and I run them differently than most of the masterminds out there. But most of the masterminds, you get together, you can come up with a lot of great ideas, but there's no accountability to put them in action. There's no one actually coaching you. There's no strategic direction always. So what happens is then next time you meet at the mastermind, you come with a bunch of new ideas. But the truth is, most of the people in the mastermind never do anything with those answers. And another popular answer is it's all about building an information product. That if I just had an information product, then everything would be solved. But here's the problem. The information product can only be built after you do the three things that we're going to talk about now. So now we're going to talk about what's in the boot camp. And I'm going to start, and then Marcus is going to be adding in. So there are three primary areas we're focusing on. And the reason we're focusing on those, and I want you to write these down, because whether you choose to join us, which we'd love for you to do that, or if you decide to do it on your own, I want you to know the steps and what really we've determined you need to be focused on. And I've checked with a lot of other people about, are these the three that you think are the ones that make a difference? And everybody that I know who does training that really works, they're going, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. So the first one is all around becoming a high performer. So a high performer involves a mental shift in your beliefs. It involves a change in how you're looking at your work every day. So you're going to have to focus and learn how to hyper-focus what you're doing during the day, specifically only doing those things that will get you to the result that you want that day, that week, and that 30 days, and then that 90 days. So you're very focused on those goals that I talked about early on, and you're only doing the things that will get you there. And it's also about a state change, so a total state change, so that you're raising your state to one of being a true high performer. And you're going to start thinking about yourself, what's possible for you differently, what you can accomplish, what kind of opportunities should be in your life, and then all of a sudden they're going to start to show up because now you're resonating with them. The second thing, and this is huge, is there's no foundation in place. I'm going to be very specific here. It's a business model that is focused on making money and is designed to make money, and it's a business model that resonates with you. So here's what I mean. It's starting with who you are. And there's a process that we take people through, but I want to give you the essence of it. The essence of it is identifying that difference you want to be making and what is your wheelhouse. What are the skills that you are really so good at that you could do them in your sleep? And once you've identified that difference you want to make, think of it as a solution to someone's problem. Then you're going to go out and you're going to determine a niche that you want to work with that has that exact problem that you can solve. And you're going to understand their number one way they think about that problem. And then you're going to take that, create a result for that number one problem, and you're going to craft an offer that is written in a way that will truly attract people. Because if you don't do that, what I'm going to tell you is that people are not going to be attracted to doing business with you. And when you do that, people will be attracted. And then the third one, which Marcus has already hit on, is you have to know how to close. So in the boot camp, not only are we going to redo your business model, every morning we're going to have you listen to a 15-minute audio that I'm crafting with my NLP skills that'll take you through meditation, visualization, and empowerment to really set you up to have a powerful day. And then we're going to give you scripts, and we're going to have you practice with one another and practice in hot seats so that we can watch your close and give you pointers on how to be a better closer. So I want to turn it over to Marcus, but I wanted to set it up first with telling you these are the three things that you must, in my opinion, accomplish if you want to really lay a foundation, and then you can be ready for the leads. But until you do, you don't have that foundation in place. So Marcus, why don't you take over from here?
Absolutely. And just like JV was saying, I mean, he is incredibly successful. If you look at all of his podcasts, he has 4 amazing podcasts. So he's got to talk to so many of these people in this arena where the ones that are really succeeding, the ones that are really winning, he gets to talk to them and look inside their minds, see how they see things, look at their mindset, and look at how they do things efficiently. So the High Performance Bootcamp that we've created, our model, this is a model that is a step-by-step proven guide to creating a high-profit business model, a fast-growing business plan, while taking daily actions to change yourself, your business, and your results. So again, if what you were doing right now was making you as successful as you want to be, then you wouldn't be listening to us now. So the idea is to be able to change and become the most efficient coach and business person as you can in the process, as well as consultant. So in our bootcamp, what we're going to have is we're going to have 6 2-hour bootcamp sessions, and we're also going to have a pre-bootcamp session. So technically it'll be 7. And in these sessions, it's going to be JV and myself. We're going to have training, which is going to be one component of it. We're also going to have a Q&A section, but the big part that is going to make a big difference in everybody's business that's listening to us today is the hot seat laser coaching. And that's something that you're not going to find in a lot of other programs. A lot of other programs will just give you information and just say, okay, go run with it. You're on your own. But with the Q&A and with the feedback that JV and I are going to provide, it helps you get into the minds of people that are successful so that you can get to that next level, as opposed to just staying right here, reading something and then moving forward without taking it and putting it into action. Just like JV was saying before, there's going to be a daily high performance program that's 15 minutes. It's going to be guided audio, meditation. It's going to be the conscious millionaire visualization, which is something that he's come up with that is just mind blowing, and empowerment. And this is how we're able to change those states. So just like he was mentioning before with going through this law of attraction, you have to change your state if you want to get to the other place. If you're in the exact same place that you are right now, it's going to be really difficult to get to the next level until you make those kind of changes. Each week you're going to receive assignments. So again, this isn't going to be just passive learning. This is a boot camp, everybody. So we're going to get in your face. We're going to push you. We're going to make you stretch. We're going to make you expand. But if you're here listening to us today, you're a coach or a consultant, and you know that that's the only way that you can get the most out of your clients. And that's what we want to do. We want to get you out of the comfort zone. We want to make you uncomfortable enough to where you can go to that next level and you can get to that level that you want to get. And it doesn't happen without putting in the work. And that's what we want to make sure that you're working on. The other thing that we're going to have is in addition to the assignments, I'm going to be heading up a Facebook group specifically for people that are in this program, people that are alumni of this program. And I'm going to go through, I'm going to help reinforce, I'm going to help ask you questions. What are you doing well on? What can we get better on? What do you need from me? How can I help you? How can I serve you? How can JV and I make you win? That's what we want. We want everybody listening to us, everybody that's in the boot camp, to win. And we feel that this is the quickest way to get there efficiently with the least amount of trouble in the process. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to help you. Accountability is key. We all know this as coaches and consultants. So we're going to assign you an accountability partner while you're in this group. So that's going to keep you motivated. That's going to keep you on task. And that's going to keep you moving forward in this endeavor to get to that next level more quickly, more efficiently, and continue to be able to scale up in the process. The idea is to be able to create a high profit business model design with the goal of doubling your business in 12 months. Now, the beauty of this is we're not just giving you a fish, we're teaching you how to fish and also how to continue to proliferate from that point. So if you understand this concept of redoing your business model efficiently and effectively, you can not only double your business, but this is something that you can do to triple your business over the next few years. Or even bigger than that, if you really effectively put in these concepts into play and push as hard as you possibly can, this is what's going to help. This is what sets everybody back, and this is what holds everybody back. Because just like JV was saying, everybody believes in the law of attraction, and that's great. Everybody works hard. But if you're just running in circles, you're not going to get anywhere, and you get tired, you get fatigued, and then you get distraught, and now you don't make the kind of impact that you want to make. And that's what we see so many people doing. They want to make more of an impact, but they don't know how. In addition to that, we're going to give JV's Conscious Millionaire book, which is an amazing book. And then you'll also get a copy of my book, The Gift of Adversity. That talks about the same thing that my TEDx talk talks about, but it talks about the mindset that I used to go from being paralyzed to finding my purpose and helping as many people as I possibly can today.
And I want to thank you, Marcus, and you covered so much of what we're doing. I want to talk about the business model again just for a moment, because what I find is that this is the foundation, but I want you to think in terms of, depending on how far you want to go with your coaching, consulting, with your business, because there's so many things you can add to your coaching or consulting business that will make it much larger and give you a lot more revenue and much more reach. Is there really 4 milestones on the way to $1 million? So there's the 100,000, the $250,000, the $500,000, and the $1 million. And here's the truth. Most people try to do that on one business model, and instead it's a foundational business model that gets you to the 100,000. And then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how you take that $100,000 business model. Once you're at the 100,000, we're going to outline, here's some changes that you're going to need to make in your business model. It's not going to change the past. In other words, your foundation will stay there, but it's going to change it, and then it's going to add to it so that you can start multiplying and leveraging your results. Because that first 100,000 is really about what is the least number of things you can do. And I'm going to suggest there's going to be one thing that we're going to hammer on, and that will get you to your 100,000. Then we'll start looking at what are the types of things that you want to offer from the $100,000 to $250,000 level that will help you start leveraging so that you can connect with more people. I want to tell you a little bit more about Marcus and why you should listen to Marcus, because he's an incredible guy. He mentioned very humbly that he went from paralysis to finding his life's purpose. But I want him to tell you the story. I'm just going to give you the basics. The basics are that he was injured at age 40 while preparing in the Army to be to ship out, to be ready for combat. And they put him into an ICU unit, and they said that if you don't walk in the next 3 to 5 days, and we don't think you're going to be paralyzed from your neck down the rest of your life. And today, I think this is amazing, because in his mind, he made a new decision. Today, he has black belts in 4 different areas of martial arts. And he's a mindset coach who focuses on helping people really realize where they're settling in their life. Where are you settling in your life, where you're settling in your business, where you're settling in your finances, and being a mirror for that and bringing it up and helping them, coach them so that they stop settling. And that's what we're going to be doing in the boot camp. That's why we've called it a boot camp, is that it's really modeled after what happens in the military. We want to shake up the way you see yourself. We want you to have a major transformational experience so that at the end of this pre-boot camp and the 6 weeks, so at the end of 7 weeks, you really are not only seeing yourself different, you're operating different. You have a model that's truly set up so you can get to the 100 and 250 level, and you're beginning to really learn the basics of how you can close consistently so you can stop having this roller coaster life. But Marcus, I want you to tell about your journey of going from paralysis and being paralyzed to black belt. I think that's amazing, and it's a very inspiring story.
Thank you, JV. I'm humbled by your words. That makes me feel incredible. Just like JV said, in 2012, while preparing to deploy with the U.S. Army, I suffered a severe spinal injury that left me paralyzed from the neck down. I actually died on the operating table twice in the process of them saving my life. So while they were able to save my life, I was paralyzed until that I would never walk again. In my TEDx talk, The Gift of Adversity, I talk about a lot of the mindset that I went through, a lot of the difficulties that I went through, and I outline it in my book, The Gift of Adversity, as well. But the hardest part was lying there at bed, in my bed at 40 years old, realizing that I had wasted a lot of my potential, realizing that I wasted a lot of time, because I always had this mentality. It's like, well, there's always tomorrow. I'll just do it then. And that's why Parkinson's law resonates with me so strongly. And that's why I'm so passionate about telling you guys this, to stop waiting and start acting as quickly as you can to move forward in that next direction. Time waits for no man. And we always assume that we're going to have that time. They say, they say we don't know what we've got till it's gone. But the reality is, we always imagine that we're going to have it. We never think that we're going to lose it. And that's why we want you to take that step and to move forward, to become the best coach that you can, to try to learn as much as you can. And this is why we're doing this coaching today and this training, to help you get to that next point. Like JV said, I went through 3 months of just darkness. I was at the very rock bottom. I was in the lowest place of my life. I actually was considering suicide, if I'm honest. But what I ended up doing is, after 3 months of being angry, I realized that wasn't serving me. I realized that my anger was actually projected onto myself, because I was so aggravated that I waited so long, assuming that I could just do whatever I wanted to with the talents that I had amongst myself. Once I started looking at my adversity as a way to learn, as a way to get better, as a way to get stronger, once I started seeing it as a gift instead of a curse, I was able to shift my mindset and start looking at everything that I should be grateful for instead of complaining about. And weeks after I was doing that, that's when I started getting movement back in my fingers and my hands. I promised myself if I was ever able to walk again, if I was ever able to do anything more than what I was doing in that bed, paralyzed from the neck down, that I was going to attack everything that I had in my life with as much ferocity as I could, to help as many people as I could, to make as much true impact on people as I could, as opposed to just sort of wallowing in mediocrity. I say in my book and in my TEDx talk, misery loves company, but not as much as mediocrity. And we don't want anybody that's listening to us or anybody that's in our boot camp to be mediocre. We want you to want more from yourself. We want you to ask more of yourself. And we're going to help you push to that level so that you can do so. And JV was nice enough to talk about me. And I'd like to say a few things about him. There's a lot of stuff that we could say about JV Crum, the Conscious Millionaire. Obviously, he is a leader of leaders. He is a coach's coach. He is the coach that people that are successful coaches go to get to the next level. That's why the things that he and I are talking about right now are so important to you as coaches and consultants that are trying to get to that next level. He's helped so many people in this endeavor. It's incredible. He made his first million at 25 years old. At 25 years old, I was still in college trying to figure out what I wanted to do. He's already made his first million. At 16, when I was still trying to learn how to drive, he was already in college and he was already accepted into Mensa. So this is a pretty incredible, JV is incredible all the way around. If you look at his book, the #1 best-selling Conscious Millionaire book, that's phenomenal. And being a best-selling author is great, but being a best-selling author as he was in 34 different categories simultaneously, again, that shows you how much he knows what he's talking about. It shows you how powerful his knowledge and his words are. And that's why listening to what he has to say and what he and I are talking about is going to help you get to that next level more quickly. His podcast, according to Inc. Magazine, is one of the top 13 podcasts in business from last year. It's the Conscious Millionaire podcast. It has over 12 million listeners. And it's one of the top 13 podcasts in 2017, according to Inc. Magazine. He has graduate degrees in law. He has a graduate degree in business, and he has a graduate degree in psychology. He's also a licensed attorney. So imagine the knowledge that he has in only one of those areas. If he can take just that spectrum and apply it to your business, that's phenomenal with an MBA. But if he also understands law and understands all those shortcomings that you can avoid, all those pitfalls that you can avoid by listening to what we're talking about today, and also his understanding of psychology. And I don't know if you heard what he said before, but as a master NLP practitioner, he has 9 years of experience in that with Ericksonian hypnosis training. These are the things that everybody else forgets about or doesn't understand. Being educated is fine, but taking the time to be a master in NLP, a master in modeling in NLP is what allows you to take that idea, to see the patterns, and then to model it and remodel it. So that's why he's constantly talking about changing your mindset, changing your belief system, changing these self-limiting beliefs that so many of us have, and allowing yourself to get to that next level. These are the things that he brings to the table, that he and I bring to the table. And I think that by being involved with this call today and taking all these things that we were saying into consideration, you're going to get to that next level much faster. And our boot camp is your next step to get to that next level, not only intellectually, but to that next level financially, so that you're making more impact and putting more money in your bank account. Right, JV?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And I just want to tell you a little bit more about the discovery call, and then we want to open it up. If you have any questions, you can put those in the chat and we'll answer your questions. So the discovery call, setting that up about the boot camp, is the boot camp. There's no link I can send you and you just buy it. We decided we didn't want to have that kind of a boot camp. We want to have a boot camp where we hand select everybody who's in the boot camp, everybody who's already purchased, everybody's a perfect fit. We want to have a call with you so that we can discuss, is it going to meet your wants? Is it going to meet your needs? Is it going to meet your desires? And in turn, are you going to be the right kind of team player? Because when you think about a boot camp, there are only 12 people that can be in this boot camp. And we want it to be a team of people that are all supporting each other. So you're going to move together and you're going to move forward together, each supporting one another, and everybody committed to getting to the finish line. And the finish line is the 3 things that we are going to be training you on: getting a high performance mindset and developing your day so that you're performing like a high performer, getting that foundation down, getting a high profit money making business model actually designed and starting to execute on it, and learning how to close so that you're ready to attract the right clients who then you can talk to as prospects, and you know how to take them through an experience of closing them. So if you want to have one of these, there are a limited number of these. I think there are only like 3 left for tomorrow.
Yep.
And so we're going to ask 3 things of you. First of all, that if you take an appointment, that you're committed to showing up, because you're taking that appointment. We don't want to stop somebody who really wants to build their coaching and consulting business. We want to be sure that everybody who does can have a call. Second, if you're going to be in this call, we want you to have already made a decision that you're committed to building your business, that you're committed to getting to that least the 100, and ideally that $100,000 to $250,000 range, and that commitment is already inside of you. Then the call is about finding out, is this boot camp right for you? And then the third thing is that we want you to show up really present, that you're ready to just open up. It's a confidential call, and so that we can talk to you and really have a conversation about where you're at, what you want to accomplish, and can this boot camp be the bridge that gets you there? And so now I want to open it up and see. I'm monitoring on Facebook to see if there were any questions there. And Marcus, I'll turn it over to you, and you can monitor on Zoom. We just want to be sure that you have an opportunity, because this is your training. Anything that we've covered today that you've got questions about, we want to be sure that you have an opportunity to ask any of those questions. Marcus?
Absolutely, JV. And Rob has a question for us. So thank you, sir, for putting in your question there, Rob. And it says, my interest right now is trying to define who my audience is and who my ideal client is. Can we talk about that a little bit, JV?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be covering that extensively, because that's the core piece of your business model, is helping you refine that. We're going to take you through steps that will allow you to go out and look at 3 different niche markets, because a lot of times one won't be exactly right, but it all starts with you. It's who are you? How do you want to show up in your business? What is that big difference you want to be making through your coaching and consulting business? And what's your wheelhouse? And by your wheelhouse, I mean, what are the skills that you have? And typically there'll be at least one skill that is something you could do. As I put it, you could do it in your sleep. And you probably do. You probably go to bed and you wake up and you've actually used the skill to solve problems. So we're going to help you craft who exactly is that ideal client. And you're going to list out the demographics, the psychographics, that's their emotional needs, their psychological dynamics. Who exactly are they? So that you can have a specific picture, and you're even going to give it a name. You know, it could be a man, it could be a woman, or maybe there's a male and a female version of the same person. So you might like 2 names because you work with both men and women. And so then we're going to help you craft this very specifically. We're going to give you assignments to work on it. You're going to have a hot seat. Everybody in the training is going to have a hot seat to work on their business model, and they're also going to have a hot seat to work on their closing. So did that answer your question, Ron?
It looks like it sure did. And
okay,
just to follow up on what he's saying, a lot of people think, well, if I'm a coach, I can help everybody. Well, you might be able to, but if you're trying to help everybody in a market, then you're helping nobody. You have to be able to find down, and just like JV was saying, find that niche. And just like he was saying, often even within this niche that you're aware of, there are sub niches. And sometimes as we drop down, you get into this niche where all of a sudden now you're able to really make that impact. And now those people are really, what you're saying is resonating with them, because again, like you said, it's in your wheelhouse. If you try to be good at everything, you're not going to be good about it. You're not going to be good at everything. Sorry. The idea is to find out what you're really good at, to be able to maximize that, to help the most people in the shortest amount of time in a quality manner, and then move forward as you're going through. And it looks like Rob was very happy with the answer. He says, great answer. So yeah, he wants to just work with people that he resonates with, and he wants to be able to serve himself and them best. Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm glad that you're asking those kind of questions, Rob, because so many people aren't asking those questions yet. And because they do that, they just they're sitting there twisting the wind, or they chase their tail financially trying to find.
Yeah, and Rob, I'll give you an example of who I work with when it comes to coaches and consultants, because I work with coaches and consultants, but I also have another group that I work with. I work with founders and CEOs of socially responsible companies. So with coaches and consultants, I'm a high performer coach, and that's who I am with everybody. And I only focus on 3 areas because they're my wheelhouse: the mindset, And that's all my NLP, Ericksonian, and that includes the big why that you have, what it is that you want to accomplish with your life, the strategy, which includes your business model, and then how to execute, to really hammer it, to get the hammer out, hammer the right nail, and get to the finish line that you want to get to, and then create another goal and get to the next finish line. So that's how we've set up the entire boot camp. It's got the mindset, which is the high performance. We've got the strategy part, which is the business model. And then we have the execution, and then that's how do you close your clients. So we've taken something from each area that's going to turn you into a high performer, and that's why it's called the High Performer Bootcamp. So I hope that gives you an example, and you're going to be able to do that with your business. That's what we're going to work with you to do. Because until you have that, it's very hard to build your business. It's kind of like you decide to build a house, but you start with the bathroom on the second floor, and all you have is some 16-inch studs. You don't have any wallboard up, and you decide, oh, we're going to wallpaper the bathroom, make it look nice, and then you notice every time you go in it that there's no ceiling, so it's been raining. The wallpaper's all getting messy and punching through. You don't have a floor, which makes it hard because you're walking on the 16-inch studs. But the real problem is it's all built on a sand because you didn't bore the foundation of the house first. Now, that sounds obviously silly, but I'm telling you that's the way most coaches and consultants appear to be building their businesses, is they never took the time to build the foundation. That's what we want you to get, is that foundation, so you can get to 100,000 and then get to $250,000, and you have a plan to get there because you're building your business model as that plan. Marcus?
Absolutely. And Rob says absolutely he agrees. Rob, we're excited to talk to you, and we're excited to answer any more questions. If anybody has them, please drop them down on Zoom, into the chat, or on Facebook with JV, and drop them in there. We've got just a little bit more time, but I think that everybody that's listening, just like he said, if you're going to commit to this, there is but one level of commitment, and that is total. There's no in between. There's no halfway. So when you're deciding to join the bootcamp, when you're deciding to do anything, give your full commitment and your full attention to that so that you can give yourself the best chance to succeed. Everything that JV and I are giving you is going to help you win. We want to make sure that you have the right mindset to be able to do that, and that's the whole reason why we're putting all this together. There are so many people that ask more. They want more. And to be able to ask JV and to ask us all these questions and understand the mindset and the inner workings, that's what makes everything different. If you're just trying to get information, that's fine. But understanding how it all fits together and how to get there more efficiently, that's what JV and I specialize in. And we want to make everybody get to that next point. Agreed. Thank you, Rob.
Well, I think that's all the questions. I don't have any over here on Facebook Live. I just want to thank everybody who chose to show up. And, I'm going to end my side by saying that one of the things I'm doing this morning, I'm recording for my podcast today. So I'm doing a number of podcast interviews, but I also have 4 podcasts. One of them is a mindset. It's High Performer Mindset Podcast. It's my newest one. It just launched a few weeks ago. Today I'm recording what's going to be Saturday's show, because I like to keep them fresh on this. They're 10-minute shows. I'm going to give you the topic because it really summarizes the boot camp, and it really summarizes why Marcus and I chose to do this together, because we thought the power of doing it together was going to be much better than either one of us doing it individually. And that is never settle for mediocrity. And so that's something that Marcus has already talked about. I just want you to know that that's a theme, and that if you are interested in the boot camp, we want you to know up front, this isn't going to be like a normal experience where you're just going to sit back, watch some videos, and maybe you do something. This is going to be a boot camp that is getting you out of anything that's mediocrity at the moment and getting you into excellence so that you can become a true high performer. You can go out there, you can just crash through the ceiling of 100,000, get your business designed so you can crash through $250,000. That's how we want to help you, is to design your business so that that's where you go. But it all starts with you becoming a true high performer. And even if you say, well, I'm a high performer today, listen, every one of us has another step and another step and another step. It's why I'm working with 2 coaches right now, because I want to perform at higher and higher and higher levels. The clients that come to me, Some of the businesses have multiple, 7 figures, but why are they working with me? Because they want to get to a higher level. All of us who want to get to higher levels, it's an endless journey, and that's a good thing, because there's more that we can accomplish. There's more that we can reach inside ourselves. There's another level that we can go to. Marcus, I'll just turn it over to you to have the last word here.
Absolutely, JV. Bruce Lee said that there are no plateaus. There are no end steps. There's always just a plateau. And just like what JV was saying, with his knowledge, with my knowledge, we're able to show you where those plateaus are, because if you're so close, you don't have the perspective to understand that you're just kind of stuck in something right now. The difference between a rut and a grave is just the fact that you've been there longer. So we want to get you guys out of that rut. We want to get you guys out of that place. We want to put you in a position to understand how much more you can accomplish. And we're going to give you the steps to get there so that you're not stuck in this place. Because again, if you're a coach or a consultant, you want to help as many people as you can and make as much impact in the process. And this is the way to do that. This is the way to not be stuck in that same wallow where you're not able to do the things that you want to do. So we look forward to seeing you on a call, consciousmillionaire.com/discovery. And I can't thank you guys enough for being on here, and JV and I are really excited to get to work with you, and we hope to talk to you soon. Have a phenomenal day.